Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
And we are into week 9 of the fall season of 2024. I want to start off saying thank you for listening. If you have not yet, please like and or subscribe and drop a comment. We'd like to hear from you. So this week in Tsuma Shogakusei ni Naru, we get to see the accident that killed Takae. And we see it from her perspective as a spectral being observing it after it's already happened. And this leads us to seeing how she came into contact with Marika and possessed her body, and thus the swapping of souls essentially within the vessel that is this 10-year-old girl. Keisuke is struggling with his newer understanding of the situation and what it means for him and what it means for Chika, and ends up taking the opportunity one day where he figures he can get Chika by herself and asks her if they can have a heart-to-heart conversation, at which point he updates her on what he believes is going on with her daughter, bringing her into the fold now on the idea of it not being a reincarnation, it being a replacement of sorts, which brings a couple of other things into contrast for her, given how Marika has been behaving since Takae's memories have returned. So not just being Takae's memories, it really is just Takae, which takes care of the uncomfortableness that we had in the very beginning where, oh my God, this 10-year-old has the memory of a 30-year-old. Uh-oh, what's going on? No. As we now have learned at this point, Marika is not home when Takae is there.
Yeah, ding dong.
Yeah. Keisuke is struggling to come to terms with how the situation needs to move forward. He doesn't want to let go of Takae since she has returned to him in this miraculous nature, but he absolutely recognizes that it's not right to keep Marika from her mother, or from just existing in general. Takae also is struggling with the same thing, and decides to take the opportunity to try to finalize some things because she knows she can't stay around forever, and the sooner she can go, the better it will hopefully be for everybody. And takes the opportunity to spend some quality time with Mai, who informs her that her and her boyfriend are going to be getting married. So Takae takes the opportunity to do her motherly duty that she never had the chance to do in the first place because of how young Mai was when she died, and starts to impart her motherly cooking skills upon her daughter. Mai brings up the idea of Takae being at the wedding in some degree. Takae, agrees to it at first, but then when Mai mentions that it's next year, Takae realizes that that's probably not going to be doable, but doesn't know how she needs to approach that, or the idea that she does just need to go away to her daughter. The final segment of the episode is something that we've pretty much been anticipating since episode 1, where Keisuke's co-worker Moria pretty much confesses to him in a moment of not necessarily stress, but a stressful situation, I guess. Keisuke ended up feeling obligated to help one of his coworkers out with a project. Moria feels a lot of concern about Keisuke and gets wrapped up in the moment of helping him as he's helping his friend or his coworker. And in an emotional exchange between them, she blurts out that she has feelings for him.
Oh, she straight up says, I love you.
It's more like a really strong like. Keisuke doesn't reject the advance. It's hard to say if he's going to go for it or not, honestly. He probably will. I don't want to set that into stone because he still has a lot of his reservations and a lot of his, I'm sure, obviously, guilt regarding his dead wife. But we end the episode with Keisuke preparing to tell Moria about the strange life he's been living for the past year with his not exactly reincarnated wife.
This is a spicy episode.
This was the most soap opera episode that we've had of this show. It was good, but my God, was it a melodrama.
I know. It definitely seemed like a TV novella.
It was good. I liked it. I liked the tone. It was the whole thing was really somber. I like the beginning. Well, okay, all right. I can't say I like, because in the very beginning of it, I'm like, oh God, here we go. We're going to get into this weird metaphysical thing. But that evaporated very quickly, and I appreciated the aspect of her witnessing the aftermath of her death, and then her essentially trapped existence yearning for completion of what she figured she needed to do, which leads us to the current time where her purpose truly is just to try to ensure that her family can
Live without her.
successfully move on and live without her. Yeah.
I enjoyed the episode. It was kind of a nail biter.
It was a lot of really good interactions between specific characters.
I thought Chica was going to deck him with that fucking bat.
Yeah.
The whole goddamn
so
time.
Chica's like, Keisuke comes up to Chica, goes, hey, do you mind if we talk for a while? And she's like, sure, let's go somewhere. She takes him to a batting cage. And she's like, I used to come here all the time, when shit was really rough. So I'm a little rusty at it. The way she was dressed reminded me of the stereotypical exploitation films from the 70s and 80s of high school girl gangs in Japan, where she had just the skirt that went all the way down to her ankles, and she's swinging this aluminum bat around. I had an image in my mind after Keisuke told her that it's not reincarnation, it's replacement, that she was going to be like, the fuck did you just say? And just hit him like he owed her money.
Like it was a bad mobster film from the 30s.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, his brains, they're all over the fucking concrete. No, it was fun. It was entertaining.
It was a good episode.
It again was suddenly over.
It didn't feel that short to me because we covered a lot of narration, honestly.
That's fair.
I think we are definitely in the final arc.
We are.
This is the
Was
it the 7 stages of grieving?
Yeah, kind of.
This is kind of the
This is acceptance.
Yeah, this is the acceptance, and then the healing aspect is going to kick in at the end.
No, this is them healing. All 3 of them. Takae accepting that her family can live without her.
She's working towards that, as we saw with her taking the time and teaching Mai how to
But
cook.
that's why she has unfinished business. Is like,
oh yeah,
and it even said like, no, I can't die. My family won't be able to live without me.
yeah, because there's
she needs to accept that Mai and Keisuke can live without her.
Yeah,
Keisuke needs to accept that his wife is dead and he needs to move on.
Yep.
And Mai needs to accept that although her mother is dead, she's never truly completely gone from her life.
Yeah.
Like the influences of her mother will still influence her life.
Especially as now she's moving into a life of her own.
Right.
I wonder if they're just going to move in with Keisuke when they get married. It's a very likely scenario. That may actually be what happens, honestly.
Could be.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe.
But isn't he supposed to inherit that business, his dad's business?
Who knows? I don't know.
Because I thought in the episode where they talked about the business, he was the one that was supposed to take over.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, who knows? He could always commute. I don't know how far away it is, though. Honestly, it's not in Tokyo. It's definitely not in Tokyo.
They make it sound like it's kind of far.
It might be kind of far. Yeah, a couple hours by train, probably.
Miburo picks up pretty much right where we left off. Nio and Hichikata leave out of the residence that they're staying at, and the goal is to find Seto. Along the way, they run into Taro.
No, Taro's staking out the place, making sure.
That's right.
Like kind of keeping an eye on it to see if any of the dangerous pro-imperial gentlemen show up that they may get ambushed.
That's right. Taro's staking out the place. Nio goes in with Taro and confronts Seto, basically plays cat and mouse with him to try to get him to admit that he did it, at the same time accusing him of doing it. It's just Nio is trying to manipulate him into saying that he did actively call for the death of him and Saito.
Yeah.
He eventually kind of gets a half admittance that he did it, and Nio then kind of taunts him and is like, "You're mad, aren't you?" And Saito just kind of blows it off. We cut then to all of the Mibu hunting for the last 3 or 4 assassins.
Well, no, okay. So as they're leaving, Seto tries to negotiate with them by saying he'll give them the location of where the remaining people are. It appeared to me he was trying to buy Nio's favor, and Nio rejected it because he had confidence that the Roshigumi would be able to do it on their own with their own instincts. And then we cut to them like on the street going, "Hey, we gotta go. We found where one of them is at an inn." And then they took off to the inn.
Yeah, and then they confront that old man with
It was Kondo. Yeah, it was Kondo, Nio, and Taro.
Right. As they're going in, the inn lady's like, "Please don't kill him because I don't want you to accidentally hurt other customers."
Yeah, she's like, "Please no swordplay because you might hurt somebody that's innocent." And then he's like, "Well, we're looking for this." He's like, "Well," she goes, I think they're in that room at the end."
They go and confront this guy, tells this sob story about how the shogunate has ruined his life and his son is missing or dead or
No,
something.
his son had
I only half paid attention.
his son had committed suicide due to some misgiving.
I knew the guy was lying, so I only half paid attention.
Well, he was hiding the fact at first. He was just trying to play off that he was an old man.
Right.
He was like an old man with a
I was
sword.
like, you lying sack of shit.
An old man with a
I
sword
know
sitting
who
there,
you
and he's
are.
like, let's have some tea. And they're like, play your game, old man.
And then finally they figure out that he's the asshole.
Yeah, well, he admits to having this vengeance against the shogunate due to his son having to commit suicide.
And then they find out he's just completely lying. He's full of absolute shit.
Yeah.
What about your son? He's fine. He's off being an idiot somewhere.
Yeah, he's just an opportunist.
And so they arrest him. They literally tie him up, like full body around tie up. They arrest him, and then night starts to fall. So the Roshigumi then go around and are basically like, it's dangerous at night. Go inside.
Yeah.
Go inside. It's dangerous at night. And they
Such a weird segment.
I laughed when Kondo was chasing the
cat.
As they're doing this, the shinobi from the earlier night
From the previous episode.
is standing on the roof, like watching in his villain arc pose, going and then Saito finds him, and they then have this like standoff, and
they did a discussion on
it devolves into like talking about Nio and why he's so observant, and it irritates the shit out of Saito.
Yeah.
Which ultimately leads to the fact that Saito figures out that, samurai rules be damned, he's going to use his sword left-handed because he's left-handed.
Yeah, then we get the trope of, haha, I've been using my weak hand this entire time, ha ha ha.
That came from the Princess Bride.
It exists outside of Princess Bride.
Princess Bride.
It's like,
I thought you liked Princess Bride.
I love Princess Bride, but it's like,
you can't even be upset.
I know
it gets
they've done
used in the movie like 4 times.
I'm almost positive they've done it in Dragon Ball, but I don't, because I've watched not a lot of Dragon Ball. I don't remember the thing. But it's essentially in Naruto with Rock Lee, where he's doing the Chunin exam, and he is kind of fighting, and he's like, hold on, let me take the weights off. Okay, now I can really fight. It's like, oh, jeez.
I've never watched Naruto.
It's essentially I've been fighting you evenly because I've been purposely handicapping myself. But now I'm serious, so I'm just actually not going to handicap myself anymore.
Oh, they do that in Dragon Ball all the time.
They do that in everything all the time.
They do it in Dragon Ball all the time.
Yeah.
Regularly, Piccolo takes off his cape and his hat because those are weighted.
Yeah.
Goku's black undershirt and the boots and cuffs that Goku wears are weighted.
Yeah.
Krillin has a weighted hat.
It's the same concept.
Gohan has weighted shit too, even when he's a 5-year-old.
It's the handicap trope, and I groaned.
I
audibly groaned when he's like, I'm left-handed, and the guy's like, this kid's dangerous.
I loved it. I ate it up. I fucking love shonen. And then the episode ends with the shinobi basically going, fuck. And yeah, that's where Blue Miburo leaves off. We're given suspense.
The episode wasn't bad. I liked the cat and mouse game between Nio and Seto. Yeah,
it was a good episode. Entertaining, fun.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. You knew immediately when they walked into that room and they showed the old man. You're like, no, he's one.
No, that guy's a piece of shit.
And then they pan back and there's just a sword sitting there on the floor. I'm like, yes, we know you're one of them.
Yeah, I knew it. Like right off the bat, I was like, yeah, that's the guy.
Yep.
We wouldn't be focusing on him if he wasn't.
So we had 2 games of cat and mouse. We had the higher level 5-dimensional chess between
games, yeah,
between Nio and Seto, and then we had a more reasonable but still intellectually engaging subterfuge conversation between Kondo and the old man.
Yeah, it was 5D chess, and then we went to like 2D.
Yeah, where Kondo walked in and he's like, "Hey, he's one of them. This is going to be fun. Let's see what he says." I'm interested to see this man's lies.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I also liked Kondo's he just put his hand on the hilt of that guy's sword. So
yeah, immediately showed up. He's just like, you don't want to fight.
I don't know why, but I always like that image when someone tries to draw the sword and then the opponent just puts their hand on it and then gets really close. Like, I wouldn't do that.
It's just like the thing of grabbing the revolver by the barrel so it can't turn.
Or that Jet Li movie where he takes off the slide, which is possible. So Orb picks up immediately where we left off with that fucking the flashback. We're still in the middle of that fucking flashback with the Count and his estranged family relative.
Yeah, he's like a cousin twice removed or something like that.
I was like 3 or 4 times
something
removed.
like it, far enough removed.
And it's this interaction where the older relative is like, you have perfect eyesight. You should finish my fucking research. And then the Count like sees something that causes him to like freak out, be like, that's not possible. Like,
so the Count is very protective of all of his research because he wants to be the one that perfects the understanding of the cosmos. And it's like what, 10 years into the Piesto or whatever his name is, I forget his name, being at his relative's research facility.
Yeah.
And his relative comes to him knowing that he's getting older and decides that he will give access to his younger cousin to his research as a sign of like, I'm going to start passing on my knowledge to you. And the relative, this Piesto, I can forget his name, tells him that he needs to think about it. And then after that moment is when he sees the glint in the sky, which causes him to
question everything and then hand it back.
Yeah, to go, no, never mind, I'm not going to do this.
So this retrospective basically makes the Count change his tune a little bit. He's like, I still think you guys are full of shit, but I remembered this little factoid basically about Venus. And it just so happens that the next 3 days we can observe this fucking fact, or the next day, this night. It's like exactly that night. He's like, we can observe Venus and you guys can either prove to me that I'm wrong or I prove to you that I'm right. And he's like, if I'm wrong, you guys get access to my research. And he then tests Oxy with a little test to see if he can spot a shape on a piece of wood that's like no bigger than, what was it, like a dot or something?
I think he said it was the size of a pupil or something like that. Something
really
minute.
It was the size of the black part of your eye. And he's like, it's a circle or a square. And Oxy goes, it's neither. It's a half circle with the right side missing. And basically the Count's like, okay, your eyesight is immaculate. Oxy has this like weird existential crisis and then asks Yolenta what it's like to read, where she's just like gushing about like, I can talk to people that are 1,000 years dead, blah, 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 blah. And then we cut to the night. Oxy's like, I need to see this. And wing bang boom, Venus is completely illuminated. It is full. And the idea that it is full shows that Venus orbits around the sun rather than orbiting around the Earth. The idea here is that if Venus were to orbit around the Earth, from the Earth's point of view, you should never see a full Venus. And because of this, that shows that it does indeed shows that Venus is orbiting around the sun rather than orbiting around the Earth.
Yeah.
Piestro, whatever the fuck his name is.
The Count.
The Count.
The dying man.
The Count is basically like, I refuse to believe it at first. Like, has a little hissy fit, and then kind of like, oh, you know what? I told, or my dying relative, when he was like, I'll see you in heaven, tell me the truth. He's like, this is the truth, and I need to tell my relative this. And then hands over the key, kind of reluctantly, as he's like tears streaming down his face, gives the key to Badeni. Badeni's like,
the same key that his relative had given him 35 years earlier.
Badeni's like, cool, we did it.
All in a day's work.
Literally didn't fucking care.
No, he doesn't.
Tells Oxy like, hey, grab all the shit that's important. We're taking it back to the village.
Yeah, we gotta move this shit out. Mule, carry this stuff back here because we can't stay here.
Looks at Yolenta and goes, thanks for the help. You want to come with? And she goes, no. And he's like, cool.
Good.
Forget everything you ever heard.
Yeah.
If we get caught, deny you know us.
Yeah. And she's like, done.
Then we cut to the Count sitting up on the roof, writing something. Did it show what he was writing in this book?
Because it was concentric circles, it looked like he was redoing the cosmos on paper as a heliocentric method.
And then he fucking died.
Then he died with having an epiphany, and the epiphany caused the end of his existence.
Yeah. He fucking just straight up falls out of his chair. His book falls somewhere.
Fell off of the veranda.
Yeah, falls off the veranda.
So I wonder who's going to find that book. It might be Yolenta, maybe.
It's going to be Nowak.
Why would he be there? But yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
It's going to be fucking
picking up
Nowak.
his daughter.
Yeah. And then the Count looks up at the sky, goes, and then kicks the bucket. And end of episode.
I think we can theoretically say that heliocentric killed this gentleman.
Heliocentrism probably killed this gentleman.
This was a really good episode. The whole part where Otzi is having that crisis, that internal crisis of the gravity of what he's about to embark on was so good, so profound. Yeah. And then moving into his conversation, well, he comes to Yolenta, he's like, I don't know how to deal with this. What I see tonight, if we do see the entire perfect disk of Mercury, of Venus, that would change all of history when it comes to this. I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of responsibility. And yeah, I liked when he went and asked her what it's like to read and write, and her response was fantastic. Yeah, oh my God, this episode was so good.
I don't know why, but mildly for like 3 seconds, she's like, don't tell anyone I said this. And I'm like, is she gonna say it's orgasmic? I got really concerned. I was like, And then she was like, she explained, I was like, oh, okay. I got worried for nothing.
Well, I mean, they're living in a society where you have to actually just be miserable in your existence because living is terrible.
Living is terrible.
Like, orthodoxy informs the peasantry that they are worthless and their existence is only to suffer until they find salvation in death. So Yolenta being raised by technically a man of the cloth, kind of, not really.
A mercenary of the cloth.
A mercenary of the cloth. Probably has been raised with this whole piety in her existence. Not as strongly as Otzi, because Otzi's like, I can't look at the sky because I'm unworthy of seeing beauty.
That dude has some serious psychological abuse. He's got that spicy deja vu.
I think with her telling him, don't tell anybody, it's because of the ingrained guilt of the dogma. Like, you can't...
Right, I understood. It just... For some reason, I was
mine went to the gutter momentarily.
I was like, please don't say orgasmic. I was like, I don't need you to be weird about reading.
Yeah, that would be, I think that would have been out of character for this story, I think.
Sometimes that shit hits you out of left field.
This is true. And you do appreciate it when that happens as well. Like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
You're just like...
I want to touch upon Badeni's machine-like existence.
His body is a machine.
No, not even that. It's just like, he is just driven by this quest for knowledge. He is a combination of...
He has hyperfixations.
He has a superiority about him, but he has no pride. He doesn't have any self-pride in the idea of, he understands that he can't accomplish all the things, and he will just outright have somebody else do it for him.
I don't think he has no self-pride because he said...
I don't think he does.
He literally said that if I don't finish this, I'm burning all of it so no one else can finish it.
I don't know if that's more of a pride thing. I think it's more of it's the same concept as the Count's relative who died. For the majority of his career in researching the cosmos, he kept it all to himself because he wanted to be the one that discovered it and nobody else. Badeni is the same way. It's not a pride thing. He just wants to be the one that does it. And damn everybody else if he doesn't get it, so he'll just set everybody back because he's just kind of a dick like that.
Denny's a piece of shit.
I really like his character. I think he is the best character in this show because he's ruthless and unapologetic about his entire existence and motive. And he's incredibly manipulative, but at the same time, very open about what he's doing. Like, he knows when to play his cards correctly to get to where he wants to be. We saw that last episode where he was interrogating Yolenta and how he was presenting himself as this trustworthy, friendly person, when every time we've seen him beforehand, he has contempt for everything around him and literally doesn't care if anybody likes him or anything. He's like, I just need to use you. But he realized that in order to get Yolenta into a position where he could use her, he needed her to trust him. And
I'll give you
paid
that.
off in spades.
Sure, I'll give you that.
Yeah. Again, he has no pride because he will do whatever it takes to progress in his goals.
I don't think saying that he has no pride is the right word.
If he was prideful, he would not even have admitted that he couldn't solve that problem.
Well, you can be prideful and not arrogant.
Oh, he's super fucking arrogant, though.
I feel like arrogance would lead to the fact that you don't want anyone. He's unashamed of asking for help.
But he's arrogant in the aspect of he definitely feels he's better than everybody else.
He's a realist.
He knows that he doesn't know everything, but he thinks he does believe he's better than everybody else.
Right, so that's still pride.
I guess. I don't know.
He's a realist.
I think somebody who's prideful doesn't ask for help because they don't want to admit to others that they are unable to do something.
Not necessarily.
No,
you
that's
can
a
be
big thing
you
with-
can be proud and arrogant and still ask for help. You're realistic.
What would you label somebody that refuses to ask for help because they feel it'll show weakness?
Arrogant?
I don't know. Badeni's a fucking weird character, and that's what I love about him.
He's a weird character. I think he is a prideful, arrogant realist
Yeah, I'll go with that.
because he's intelligent.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he has the intelligence to realize that
He's-
realistically
He's crafty.
he's crafty. He has the intelligence
Br-
and the craftiness to realistically realize that he doesn't have all of the answers and
Yeah.
will manipulate and use people to get to his end goals.
He recognizes and respects his limitations.
Yes. Which you can still be prideful and arrogant and do that.
I was more leaning into the idea of I don't think he's prideful because he's willing to admit his shortcomings.
There's plenty of prideful people that will do that.
The episode was great. The continuation of the background information with the Count and his relationship with his relative and how that relationship was essentially ended on a layer of obfuscation and doubt, which then translates into him being convinced to assist Badeni and Otzi in their pursuits. So I think what he came to recognize is that what he had considered as his life's goal was really his relative's life's goal that he felt he needed to be the champion of following his death. And now it's come to the point where he realized he's been lying to himself too long now. It has been detrimental to him truly finding what he wanted to find, which Yolenta brought up in the previous episode, which is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And in his dusk, he has now relented just as his relative did and is willing to pass on the keys of knowledge to another group that may be able to carry on the research that he should have been doing this entire time.
And then he fucking pushed up daisies.
Yeah.
Otherwise, great episode.
It was a great episode. I can't wait for the next episode.
I just can't wait for this to keep going.
TsumaSho, we obviously know we're in the end game. It's looking good. I think it's going to be a lot of melodrama.
Yeah, unfortunately, the other two shows, the end game will be at the end of next core.
Yeah. Miburo, the episode was fine.
There's a part of me that wants to keep talking about Miburo and Orb. At least for sure, Orb.
Well, we have to figure that out. We know what our shows are for next season.
We do.
So what we might be able to do next season, because Miburo and Orb are continuing, is maybe we'll do like a little 5-minute segment that will pop in on a different day of the week. Just kind of updating those two shows instead of doing a full blown out show, obviously.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Good shows.
Speaking of good shows, don't forget about our podcast episodes that come out on Fridays where we discuss the remake of Ranma 1/2.
Called Weekly Ranma.
Also, like, subscribe, hit that bell so you know when we drop our videos. Though the regular podcast currently drops on Wednesday mornings and the weekly Ranma episodes drop on Friday mornings.
Also, don't forget to check out our Discords,
Social media.
Instagrams.
Yep.
Eventually, if we bully Steve enough, he'll make a TikTok.
If you bully me enough, I'll add content to TikTok.
Okay,
I only
fine.
put 2 videos up there and they were just shorts from YouTube.
That's your guys' mission. Bully Steve
Into doing TikToks.
into doing TikToks. Maybe we can find a GIF of one of the characters flossing or something.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Again, don't forget weekly Ranma on Fridays, and we will see you next time.
Deuces.